What are the things that you should know about having a kasambahay at home? What are the do's and don'ts that you should be aware of as the boss?
Just like our reader Sam, who asks, "Hi, attorney. We're a young couple starting out and we're about to hire our first kasambahay. Do you have any tips that would help me deal with my kasambahay fairly?" If you're thinking the same thing, stick around as we tackle these questions today.
But before we proceed, we want to give a shout out to Mark, who says this about our employee discipline book. It's very helpful for our business since our employees are growing fast. Employees, especially the pioneers, are becoming stubborn. And it's hard for us to decide what to do. And by reading this book, I think we now know how we can handle them. Guys, we'd love it if you can leave us your feedback as well at info.legalguide.ph/feedback. Who knows, your entry may be featured in the next episode.
This episode is brought to you by the Complete Employee Discipline System, a book that teaches owners, managers, and supervisors how to handle any offense easily and systematically. It provides step-by-step procedures from incident reports all the way to the clearance process. Stand your ground and discipline with confidence. Go to info.legalguide.ph/discipline to learn more. Welcome to Legal Guide Philippines, where we simplify the law to help you make better choices. I'm Attorney Ramon Ramirez, and I'm with my partner,
Attorney Erwin Zagala.
So, today, attorney, we're talking about kasambahay.
Yeah, a lot of people have questions about the kasambahay law. So we decided to dedicate one episode for this so that we can answer the most confusing parts for people, diba? So what we'll be doing is, dadaanan ko yung buong life cycle ng isang kasambahay with an employer. So
Okay.
start tayo sa hiring and then
Firing.
No, not kagad. Hiring and then pasok tayo dun sa mga terms of employment, ano yung gagawin habang naninilbihan na, and then finally, how to end the relationship. That's terminating the employer-employee relationship.
Oh, exciting.
And then siguro, let's also tackle some questions na mga sumusundot-sundot from time to time about it that we've seen on our websites and what people ask us. So ready to get started?
I'm excited.
Sige. So, we're referring to the kasambahay law. And right now, pinag-uusapan natin, hiring your kasambahay. Now, did you know that you can actually request documents para ma-vet mo yung suitability niya?
Like what? Aptitude test. Ganyan. Or college
Hindi
degree.
na. Okay. Pwede, pero hindi
College
yan yung
diploma.
binabanggit sa law. Kasi
Okay.
yung binabanggit sa law, it's a little bit more basic.
Okay.
Such as, number one, medical certificate or health certificate issued by a local government health officer. Siguro kung ako yung hihingi nito, medyo ihahalin tulad ko na lang sa hinihingi for normal businesses na parang fit to work.
Well, lalo na ngayon, considering the pandemic right now.
At the time that the law was made, wala pang COVID.
Yeah.
So siguro idadagdag ko rito na COVID clearance.
Mhm.
But the more important points na hinihingi ko usually pag medical certificate if there are contagious diseases. Yung fit to work kasi that's very basic, but you have the option actually to send them to a clinic or a doctor, and then you can dictate kung ano yung mga tests na ipapagawa nila. That's all within your power to do. Okay? Next is barangay and police clearance.
Okay.
Baka may kaso kasi, di ba? Ipalipat-lipat lang pala ng bahay.
Baka may mga magnanakaw pala.
Oo. So the keyword here is may require. Hindi po required, may require kung trip ninyo. Next is NBI clearance. Now, Attorney Ramon, I have something to say about this. Between barangay, police, and NBI clearance. Ako, usually, I just go for the NBI clearance. Why? NBI clearance kasi has nationwide scope.
Yeah, okay.
Versus barangay. Nandun lang yun sa barangay na yun.
Paano kung hindi siya taga-barangay mo?
But if sa ibang barangay gumawa ng crime,
Kalokohan.
labas na yun. Or police, possibly within the station. I'm not sure if it's already centralized, but the only thing that I'm sure na centralized is NBI. That's why ako, as much as possible, I rely on the NBI clearance as much as possible.
That's a good tip.
Next is duly authenticated birth certificate, or if not available, any other document such as a voter's identification card, baptismal. Ang binabantayan kasi rito, a document showing the age. Kasi not a lot of people know may age cap po na yung pwede mong i-hire as kasambahay. And that's 15 years old.
15.
Should not be lower than 15. It's illegal to employ kids below 15 as domestic helpers.
Unless they're your children. Joke lang.
Ay, pwede yun.
Pwedeng utusan sila.
So there needs to be a verification na 15 and up dapat yung magiging employee, just for you to be sure. Okay? Now, there's a catch.
Anong catch niya?
Pwede mo naman ipa-require lahat.
So lahat yun, all those documents, medical,
and then may gastos yan.
No,
May gastos yan. Okay. Ito ngayon yung catch. You can require as many of these, pero sagot mo. Okay. Under the law, the cost shall be borne by the prospective employer or agency. Depende kung sino yung nag-hire.
Okay. Makes sense naman.
So, you might not have known that, but you can be as strict or as lax when hiring your kasambahay. Yan. Now, let's talk about the stage wherein na-vet mo na, okay na ako rito, tatanggapin ko na to. And what is required? It's having an employment contract with your kasambahay. Required po.
Kasambahay with employment contract na?
Yes. Yeah.
As in written?
Yes, it's required under the law na magkaroon. And it should be in a language or dialect understood by both the domestic worker and the employee. That's why if you Google it, guys, baka nagtataka kayo, naku, attorney, mahassle naman yan, kontrata sa kukunin. Just Google, kasambahay employment contract. Ang daming lalabas. Actually, meron pang iba-ibang translations.
Oh, nice.
Regional.
Nice.
So,
cool.
So, just pick the appropriate one. Ang importante, meron kayo. Now, let's talk about the things that are included there. So, may kontrata nga, di ba? Magkwento tayo a little bit. First is duties and responsibilities of the domestic worker. Sino ba yung aalagaan? Ilang bata? Kunwari, maraming bata. Sino ba yung cargo ko? Pwedeng nandoon.
Ikaw yung magluluto. Ikaw maglalaba.
Yes. O ang next naman na pinag-uusapan is period of employment. Kasi for the most part, kung maayos ka naman na amo, tatagal sa'yo yung kasambahay, di ba? But for others, medyo limited po kasi yung time na kailangan yung kasambahay. So, you can put it in the contract na limited time lang yun.
Or pwede rin, like, kumari, to protect the employer, 1 year lang tayo.
Pwede rin.
Pwede rin. Okay.
That's well within the power of both parties naman to enter into. Next, compensation. Siyempre, malinaw dapat kung magkano yung ibabayad para maayos.
Yes.
Next is authorized deductions. Baka kasi may binabayaran na utang. Or
nakasira.
Nakasira. Kaya sa employment contract to, sa simula ito. So siguro kung sakaling babaguhin mo, you might want to amend the contract or lagyan mo na lang ng attachment for authorized deductions.
Okay.
Kasi most probably that will happen during the rendering of the services na. Sa gitna na ng employment yan. Next, hours of work and proportionate additional payment. Kung sakali may OT.
May OT ba ang katulong?
Parang mahirap i-track yan.
Yeah, it seems like it's hard.
But it's included there. Next is rest days and allowable leaves. Okay, just to be clear, hindi po required na ang rest day is a weekend. Pwede ninyong iset yan on a different day. Ang important lang, meron talagang rest days. And I'll talk about this a little bit more later. By the way, may ano pala siya, allowable leaves after 1 year. May SIL din or service incentive leave ang yaya or kasambahay.
Wow. And this is also for the protection, itong rest days and allowable leaves. I think this is also for the protection of the employer as well. Kasi like, if it's clearly defined when yung rest day and yung allowable leaves, di ba? Like, when I was a kid, I would remember yung mga kasambahay namin, 3 months mawawala, and then
ang lupit naman na leave nun.
Yeah, yung mga ganyan, yung uuwi for 3 months. It's just when they ask for a leave, it's parang arbitrary kasi, no?
So at least ito,
in a contract,
we set expectations.
very clear. That's
good. That sounds reasonable. Okay, next is board, lodging, and medical attention. What do you have to say about that? Tipong, saan yung kwarto niya? Saan yung kama?
In case magkasakit, sino may sagot?
Next, agreements on deployment expenses. Sometimes kasi parang para ipadala sa'yo, sino yung magbabayad ng, pamasahe ko galing probinsya.
Yeah, right. That's typical.
Pag-usapan na yun. Next, loan agreement. Ako, pwede po bang pabali?
Bumabali.
Pwedeng nandun yan.
So, pwedeng it's already in the contract.
Na paano yung latag din?
Ano yung latag pag may loan? Okay.
Next, termination of employment. Ano yung grounds para bigyang ihinto yung kontrata between the two of you? And other lawful conditions agreed upon by both parties, pwede rin pong ilagay sa kontrata.
I love it.
Now, yun nga, para hindi kayo mahirapan, the Department of Labor and Employment already created a model template. You just have to Google it. No need na ipagawa yan sa lawyer. Don't worry about it. Okay? The government was generous enough to do it for everyone. Next, what about leaves? Ito, pag-usapan natin ngayon.
Leaves ka naman.
Oo. Paano yung diskarte pag magpapahinga sila? Okay, ang bilangan dito, weekly.
Okay.
So the domestic worker shall be entitled to at least 24 hours na consecutive of rest in a week. So
Okay.
1 day out of the week.
Okay.
And again, hindi po required Saturday or Sunday. Pwedeng Monday or Tuesday, whatever it is.
Because sometimes it's more important na nandun sila ng weekend.
Yes.
Diba?
So, pwede naman pag-usapan yan. Okay? However, there is a special circumstance. Kung sakaling may hihingiin na specific na araw yung domestic worker, if it's based on religious grounds, we are entitled to respect that.
Tama.
Baka day of worship kasi nung domestic worker, then we should respect that. Okay? Pero, ito, ang natutuwa ako, binigyan ng leeway ng batas, pwede pang laruin. It's not fixed kasi there is elbow room in setting the leaves. And what do I mean by that? Number one, pwede kasing i-offset yung day of absence with a particular rest day. So, pwedeng, wala ka rito, and then ipapalit ko na lang ito. Pwedeng gumagalaw yun.
Okay.
As long as parehong nagkakaintindihan. Next, pwede rin naman, okay pa ako, hindi ko kailangan magpahinga. I-waive mo na yung rest day mo in return for equivalent daily rate of pay.
Pwede rin yun.
Masipag may pinag-iipunan. Pwede yun.
Dapat ba pumayag yung employer?
Tingin ko,
Dapat, yes.
Oo.
Kasi
nag-deviate sila galing sa employment contract.
Yeah.
Okay, next is accumulating rest days but not exceeding 5 days. Pwede palang ipunin. And then, magbakasyon ka bigla ng Ingrande.
Okay.
Halos 1 week. Pwede yan pag-usapan. No problem. And then, other similar arrangements. The law is open to modifications as long as nag-agree kayong dalawa. Wala namang issue. Nice, di ba?
I like it.
Actually, what strikes me as interesting is medyo hawig din siya sa normal na office worker. Na pwede naman pag-usapan yung leave, di ba? Pero nakakatuwa, kasama mo kasi everyday ito So, hindi mo iisipin na immediately applicable na pwede pag-usapan yung mga leaves.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about, aside from the leaves, let's talk about the next most important thing, which is the pay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yan ang pag-usapan
So, ano po ba ang offer? Okay, so guys, not a lot of you may know na there is a certain minimum. Kumbaga sa office worker, meron din tayong minimum wage pagdating sa domestic
Anong
workers.
minimum wage nila, attorney?
Nagbabago-bago.
Okay.
When the law was implemented, initially, if I'm not mistaken, 3,000 pesos yung NCR rate.
Per month. Okay.
And then, nababago-bago po yan. The Department of Labor and Employment issues modifications to that from time to time. And if you want to get the latest rates, you just have to Google minimum wage of domestic workers. Lalabas yan. But at the time of taping this particular episode, the minimum wage for domestic workers in NCR is now at 5,000.
Nice.
So, tumaas. Yeah. Tumaas. Pero here's the thing. Ito lang, hindi ka makakakuha ng kasambahay ngayon for 5,000.
Really?
Yung mataas ang going rate. I guess supply and demand.
So, konti na ang supply. Kaya mas mataas na.
But, at least the law stepped in para walang gulo. Ito yung minimum natin, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So, just Google it. From time to time, it changes. Now, aside from salary, minsan nagkakagulo rin. Attorney, dapat pa talagang i-SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig?
Kasi, nasa bahay mo na, pinapakain mo na, pinapatira mo na, and so pinapasweldo mo. So, kasama pa ba yan? Yung mga benefits na yan?
Yes, after 1 month.
After 1 month?
Yes, after 1 month, kailangan mo nang i-rehistro yan. Okay? Siguro ginawa ng law ng 1 month kasi that's 1 pay cycle for the benefits. Or kasi baka naman wala pang 1 month, hindi nag-work out.
Parang lemon law, no? Ay, hindi, it doesn't work out. Alis ka na lang. Parang gano'n. And then, tapos, in-register mo na. It makes sense.
Now, if you guys are providing 5,000 pesos or more, pwedeng, may contribution yung employee. Okay, so medyo may laro na konti dyan. You might want to check out yung contribution tables for that. Okay? I won't discuss that kasi it kind of varies between government agencies, and baka naman by the time na mapanood ninyo to, iba na naman, sayang oras natin. So just Google it to be sure. Okay? Now, ito medyo mabigat pag-usapan. What about ending the contract?
Tatapusin na yung kontrata.
So,
end of contract.
General rule, kung ano yung period na nilagay natin, irespeto natin.
Period in the original contract.
Sinabi 2 years, 2 years tayo.
Okay.
Ngayon, ito naman, may mga situations kasi na medyo nagkasamaan. Yun yung gusto kong tutukan. Diba? So, what are the grounds na pwedeng i-terminate ng employer at ng employee yung relationship nilang dalawa? Let's start out with employee.
So, in your scenario, it is the kasambahay who will terminate the
Yes.
Okay,
Ano yung ginawa sa kanya that will entitle him or her under the law to terminate the relationship. First off is verbal or emotional abuse. Ayan. So, yung mga amo na medyo mabibigat ang salita.
Naku, dami niyan.
Ingat po tayo dyan. Legal ground yan. So, ingat po tayo. Anytime, pwede tayong iwan kapag hindi na natiis. So, verbal and emotional abuse, no. Huwag po tayong ganyan.
And it seems subjective, no? Kasi it depends on kung ano yung pagkakatanggap ng ano.
That's true. No? Pero, this is a little bit concerning kasi kung nilagay na sa batas yan, ibig sabihin,
it happens a lot.
Hindi naman papatulan ng batas yan at saka ng lawmakers to take the effort to include it if it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Sad, pero I guess that's what the effect will be kung sakali. Next is, let's talk about inhuman treatment.
Oh my gosh.
So,
siguro
maliban sa minura-mura mo na, sinigawan mo, ito naman, inhuman treatment, including physical abuse of the domestic worker or by any member of the household.
Siguro naman, sana naman na pwede na nilang i-terminate yung employment if this happens to them. No? They deserve to terminate it.
That's true. Everybody is entitled to respect.
Absolutely.
Next is commission of a crime or offense against the domestic worker. Kunwari, pinagtangkaan ng buhay niya.
Sinubukang rapin. Sana lang.
Okay. Dapat naman talaga na pwedeng i-terminate at that point.
Yes.
Okay. And fourth is violation by the employer of the terms and conditions of the employment contract and other standards. Hindi naman po kayo tumutupad, sir.
Ito po ang kontrata, hindi nyo ginagawa. Please, employers,
pwede kayong iiwan.
Yes.
Okay. Next, any disease prejudicial to the health of the domestic worker, the employer, or members of the household. So, kung merong sakit, pwede niyang i-terminate.
Okay.
Kung mapapansin mo, it covered everyone. So, kung hindi na komportable si Kasambahay, she can leave.
Okay.
And finally, other causes analogous to the foregoing. So, hindi po limited to those, pero dapat kasing bigat ng mga to, yung pinag-uusapan. Hindi pwedeng trivia lang.
Yeah. Ang tinatawag namin yan, catch-all. Yan, yung last, analogous causes na yan.
Okay. Now, let's talk about ito naman on the other side.
Okay.
May ginawang kalokohan
si amo naman.
Si Kasambahay.
Okay.
Ano yung causes na pwede kong sabihin na lumayas ka sa pamamahay?
Mag-impake ka na.
Number one, misconduct or willful disobedience by the domestic worker of the lawful order of the employer in connection with the former's work. Ang haba, ano? Pero it can be summed up in one word. Insubordination.
Insubordination. Yes. Parang ganun din sa sa regular.
So hindi mo sinunod yung utos. So,
na lawful.
Na lawful.
Okay.
Kasi baka naman kung ano yung inutos. Patayin mo yung kapitbahay natin.
Magnakaw ka lang ganito. Ay, ayoko po. You're fired. Hindi pwede gano'n.
Hindi pwede. Kailangan lawful po yung order.
Yep.
So, kunwari, ilang beses ka na sinabihan na, di ba sinabi ko labahan mo to or isampay, kung talaga hindi sumusunod. Nawili, Facebook.
Okay, Facebook.
O kaya
TikTok. TikTok lang TikTok.
Nakakuha ng TikTok account. So, ayun, pwede matanggal doon. Next, gross or habitual neglect or inefficiency by the domestic worker. Ayan. Tapos na ba yung pinapahugas ko sa iyo? Hindi pa po.
May slowdown.
Sloth no? So, gross or habitual neglect, it can be a ground. Okay? Parang ilang beses na muntik masagasaan yung anak mo. Dahil pinapabayaan ng yaya, tanggal yan. Gross and habitual neglect.
Sana lang.
Next, fraud or willful breach of the trust reposed by the employer. Usually, nagmamanifest po yan, nakaw.
Or, naka-experience kami nung bata pa kami, sinusuot yung mga damit ng kapatid ko.
Kasha. Magkano sila? Magka-size.
Medyo magka-size eh.
Oo.
Yan.
Fraud yan, bro.
Fraud yun.
Oo. And willful breach. Tama
Oo.
nga naman. Tama nga naman.
Trust repose, di ba?
Tingin ko pwede rin naman to na pumasok. Kunwari, yung mga nangyayari sa bahay niyo, chinichismis sa kapitbahay.
Pwede rin.
Or pinupost pa sa Facebook, di ba?
Because you trust them with your household and information about your household.
Actually, covered sila ng privilege.
Mhm.
Yung mga kasambahay, whatever they see, whatever they hear within the household, that's considered privileged information. So, ayun, kapag chinismis ka sa labas, pasok po yan. Pwede mo tanggalin yan. Another thing is violation of the domestic worker of the terms and conditions of the employment contract.
Sila naman yung tumutupad.
Oo. Sinabi mo, ito yung rest day. Biglang nilipat mo. Pwede gano'n. Diba? So, gano'n. Next is, pareho nung sa kasambahay kanina, disease.
Okay.
Kapag medyo may sakit and hindi ka komportable na may sakit siya, you can actually terminate the contract. And finally, other causes. Ano tawag mo dyan, Atty. Ramon?
Mga catch-all or other analogous causes.
Baka kasi may nangyari na hindi naisip ng lawmakers, at least may pwede tayong puntahan.
Kasing bigat.
Okay, can't be trivial. Okay? Now, Atty. Ramon, ito naman, I want to cover some common questions. Kasi nadaanan na natin from hiring to termination. Ito naman yung mga singit-singit na mga tanong na
common questions
people might not be familiar with. First off is, what can I give and not give my kasambahay?
Okay.
Diba?
Sige, ano yun?
Usually, pinag-uusapan dyan, food.
Yes.
Obligado ba ako pakainin yung kasambahay? Under the law, yes. At least 3 meals, adequate meals a day. Pero, yes, parang logical naman yata yun. Nakatira sa inyo eh. Hindi mo
1 meal a day lang sila.
ano yun? Parang
kawawa naman.
ine-expect mo na, bahala ka maghanap ng pagkain mo. Pupunta sa karinderya sa kapitbahay.
Pero nakatira sa bahay mo. Parang
illogical naman yata.
And kaya nga, I think lower yung kanila because they live with you eh.
Yes.
Diba? And ibig sabihin, yung board and lodging nila kasama. Diba?
It's compensated na. Offset kahit paano. Okay? So, 3 meals po, required tayong ibigay. Tsaka mahiya naman tayo kung sakaling hindi ninyo binibigay. Kawawa naman, sa inyo nakatira yan eh. Diba?
True.
Ito naman. On the other side, medyo extreme. Kasi food, necessity talaga yan.
Yeah, necessity.
Ito medyo luxury. Pag nag-a-apply sa'yo, naririnig ko ang unang tanong ngayon ng mga kasambahay, may wifi po kayo.
Yun!
At kapag sinagot mo.
Seryoso ba? They ask that?
Seryoso.
Wow. Wala kasi kaming katulong. We don't do that. So,
yan ang tanong. And may follow-up question. Kunwari,
anong question?
May wifi po kayo.
Meron.
Ano po ang speed?
Seriously, they ask that?
Ewan ko. Pero kung sakaling gano'n ang itanong sa akin, baka medyo magdalawang isip ako nito. Hindi pa tayo nagsisimula. Okay.
You're fired.
So, are you required to provide internet access? No. They are not. If ever you do, that's a privilege that they have to earn. Kung sakali. But you are not required to provide Wi-Fi access po sa mga kasambahay.
Give them access to yung kapitbahay. Wi-Fi ng kapitbahay.
Tsaka ang dami naman mura ngayon na promo na sa prepaid SIM, di ba? I don't think they should pass on the burden. Pero kung mabait yung amo, why not, di ba?
Why not?
Another question that comes up is, how often can we give them a raise? And ang sagot ko, may surprise anyone, some of you guys. And the answer is, kahit everyday ninyong gawin yan, okay lang po yan sa batas. Wow. Because that's in favor of the kasambahay.
Okay. Right,
However, ang tanong is, tama ba yun? Pag-isipan din po ninyo. Kasi my warning here, just to put everything in balance, kapag yan po tinaas ninyo, kailangan po panindigan ninyo yan. It cannot go down afterwards.
So parang regular employee din na if you've given that, hindi pwedeng pabaan.
If hindi kayo sure na kaya ninyong panindigan, one way of going around this is, wag niyong itaas yung salary, just give a bonus.
Pwede.
Kasi the bonus pertains to the fact na marami ako resources ngayon. I can't assure na marami yung resources ko permanently moving forward. So I'll just give you bonuses. So that's one way of going about it.
And that's legal.
That's legal.
Yes.
Wala namang problem. But just make sure kung sakaling magtataas kayo, kaya niyong panindigan. And you can do it as often as you want. No problem. Okay, Atty. Ramon, we've covered a lot. Do you mind giving us a recap?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked about a lot of things. The first point it was yung hiring your kasambahay. And what did you say about that?
Well, marami kang pwedeng i-require, pero babayaran mo.
Yes, okay. So the cost is yours. Next is is it required na merong employment contract?
Yes.
And the answer is absolutely.
You can download it from the net.
Yes. Okay, please Google it. Now, what about leaves, Attorney Erwin?
Maraming pwedeng pag-usapan, but at least once, 1 day out of the week.
That's correct. And when it comes to pay,
may minimum wage po tayo. Babantayan lang natin by searching the minimum wage rates.
and right now it's at 5,000 pesos
For
in
NCR.
No? So check if you're from a different region. And when it comes to benefits, kailangan ba talaga SSS?
After
PhilHealth?
1 month, yes.
Correct. Okay, so wait tayo 1 month and then let's register them. Okay? And in terms of ending a contract, we talked about yung scenarios where the employee, meaning the kasambahay, and the employer can terminate it. Tama? Marami yun. And then yung catch-all provision natin, analogous causes. And then lastly, we talked about common questions, which is basically, can we give them a raise? And definitely yes. Do we need to give them Wi-Fi? Not necessarily. Choice nyo yun. And what was the third one, Attorney Erwin?
Raise, Wi-Fi, and food.
And food, okay. Oh, please, just give them, come on, guys. Let's give them 3 meals a day, please. All right? Tama na?
Yes. For most of you, this video was more than enough, and if it makes your life easier, then you're welcome. Now, I have a resource here that isn't necessarily related to kasambahays, but if you have team members and you manage them at work, then I invite you to check out the Complete Employee Discipline System book, where we teach you a roadmap to handling employee cases from start to finish. Get the book at info.legalguide.ph/discipline today.
Now, to add to that, if you want us to tackle your question in our show, go to www.legalguide.ph and click the Submit Topic button. Next, of course, we'd like to know what's your biggest takeaway from today's episode. So please write it down in the comments and let's talk about it. Lastly, if you feel we've earned a good rating, please give us a like and subscribe because it gives us feedback that we're doing a good job and it encourages us to do more videos.
One last thing, our kasambahays help us by making life easier at home so you can concentrate on work. That's why they deserve fair treatment. Let's be aware of what the law deems fair and follow that. So wasn't that simple?
Now go make better choices.